I've been the chief of police in this city for almost 5 years now. When I first stepped into this role, I promised myself one thing. I would lead by example and ensure that every officer in my department upheld the values of fairness, integrity, and respect. But lately, I started hearing whispers, complaints from the community about officers abusing their power, showing favoritism, or simply not caring enough to do their job right. At first, I brushed it off as exaggerated hearsay. After all, I trusted my team. But as the complaints grew, I knew I couldn't ignore them any longer. That's when I came up with an idea. I'd see it for myself. Not as Chief Daniels, but as an ordinary citizen. I decided to go undercover to experience firsthand how my officers treated the people they had sworn to serve. I spent a week planning everything. I traded in my polished uniform for an old, tattered jacket, a baseball cap, and ripped jeans. I let my beard grow out and rubbed dirt on my face to complete the look of a man down on his luck. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. That was the point. The next morning, I parked my car a few blocks away from the station and walked the streets of our city, blending in with the crowd. I played the role of a homeless man, sitting on benches, asking for change, and lingering near storefronts. It was humbling, to say the least. People either avoided eye contact or looked at me with pity, but some were kind enough to offer a smile or a few coins. However, I wasn't here to judge civilians. My focus was on the officers. The first encounter happened near a coffee shop. I sat on the sidewalk, pretending to rummage through a backpack, when I saw two patrol officers walking toward me. My heart pounded. Would they ignore me, treat me with respect, or confirm the rumors? "Hey buddy, you can't sit here," one of them said, his tone sharp. I looked up, mumbling an apology. "I'm just resting my feet. I'll move soon." The second officer snorted. "Rest somewhere else. You're scaring off customers." I stood up slowly, noticing the way they smirked at each other. "I'm not causing trouble," I said quietly. The first officer rolled his eyes. Yeah, just keep moving." It wasn't outright disrespectful, but the lack of compassion stung. They didn't ask if I needed help or if I was okay. They just wanted me gone. I made a mental note of their names before walking away. The second encounter was much worse. I had positioned myself near a park, sitting quietly on a bench when another pair of officers approached me. This time, their attitudes were downright hostile. "What are you doing here?" one barked, his hand resting on his belt. "Just sitting," I replied, keeping my voice calm. "You got ID?" the other demanded. I shook my head. "No, sir." That seemed to annoy him. "You can't just loiter here? Do you have any warrants?" "No, I don't." They exchanged a glance before the first officer stepped closer. "We'll see about that. Stand up." I obeyed, feeling a surge of anger as they patted me down right there in public, in front of families enjoying the park. People stared, some whispering to each other. I felt humiliated, even though I knew I'd done nothing wrong. After a few minutes, they let me go, grumbling something about keeping an eye on me. My hands shook as I walked away. By the end of the day, I was exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally. I couldn't believe what I had witnessed. Out of the 5 officers I interacted with, only one treated me with dignity. Officer Jenkins, a young recruit, had approached me outside a grocery store with genuine concern. "Sir, are you all right? Do you need help?" he asked. I nodded, pretending to look embarrassed. "I'm fine, just trying to get by." He crouched down to meet my eyes. "There are some shelters nearby. I can give you directions if you'd like. And here." He reached into his pocket and handed me a granola bar. "It's not much, but I hope it helps." That small act of kindness nearly brought tears to my eyes. I thanked him, and he smiled before walking away. Jenkins was a reminder that not all hope was lost, that some officers still carried the torch of compassion and humanity. The next morning, I walked into the station, back in my uniform. My officers were gathered for the daily briefing, chatting and laughing. As I stepped into the room, silence fell. They all stood at attention, saluting me. "Good morning, Chief," one of them said. I nodded, scanning their faces. "Morning." Taking a deep breath, I addressed the room. "Yesterday, I went undercover to see how this department interacts with the community. I posed as a homeless man and observed how our citizens are treated by those sworn to protect them." A murmur rippled through the room. Some officers exchanged uneasy glances, while others stood still, their faces unreadable. I'm disappointed, I continued, my voice firm. I witnessed disrespect, profiling, and a lack of empathy from officers I trusted to do better. However, I also saw moments of kindness and integrity, which reminded me why I chose to wear this badge. I looked directly at Jenkins. Officer Jenkins, thank you for treating me and everyone you encounter with dignity. You are a credit to this department. He nodded, looking surprised but grateful. Then I turned to the rest of the room. As for the rest of you, this is a wake-up call. If you can't treat every person with respect, no matter their appearance or situation, you don't belong here. Our job is to serve and protect everyone, not just those who look like us or meet our expectations. In the weeks that followed, I implemented new training sessions focused on empathy and community engagement. I also introduced stricter accountability measures, ensuring that officers who mistreated citizens faced consequences. It wasn't an easy process, but it was necessary. Looking back, going undercover was one of the hardest things I've ever done. It forced me to confront uncomfortable truths about my department and myself. But it also gave me hope. Hope that with the right leadership and accountability, we can do better. This story is a reminder that leadership isn't about sitting behind a desk. It's about stepping into the shoes of those you serve and taking action to create change. Whether you're in law enforcement or any other profession, treating people with respect and dignity should always come first. What are your thoughts on this story? Have you ever experienced or witnessed something similar? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know what kind of stories you'd like to hear next. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that inspire change.